Hello there guys, welcome back. Okay, so we're going to continue with this bit now. So we have the character pretty much broke out. So I'm going to tell you now is how to break it down in parts. Now, if you see the way you break down things in ZBrush, one of the probably the easiest way, one of the main ways of doing it is using the polygroups. And the polygroups is just the color that you assign. So in the section here, polygroups, what it does is every time you draw something new here with the insert brush, it will turn it into a different color. But you can assign your own polygroup. I can actually make a selection later on of these and then just turn it into a polygroup. That's not a problem. But for now, what I'm going to show you is the how to break it down and then how to identify what other things that we're going to be breaking down, because we need to break them in polygroups in order to then break it down into subtools. Now, at the moment we're working with a single subtool, okay, and I expect you to have a single subtool here, one or two maximum, but not for every piece of this a subtool here, guys, because that is not the workflow we're doing. If you're doing that, it's because you, like I said, it's because you bypass this, and I will tell you. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep, for now, we're going to identify, we're going to keep all the body in a single subtool. We're going to keep the head in another subtool. And then I just decided I'm going to put the hair in another subtool. Then later on, I will probably make copies of these and then work on more or insert more stuff. But I can actually work in this individual subtool. And then I want to put the hands as well in another subtool, and the reason for that is because hands are very difficult to work with them individually. So what we're going to do is I'm going to split them and then put the group and everything else in a single polygroup. So I think for this character, I think these legs are a little bit too short, perhaps. So I just realized that I'm going to make it a little bit, because everything at the moment is a single polygroup, or sorry, a single subtool. Then I can actually select them as well by mask select them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control, and then here, by default, this is the mask pen, but you can paint here and then paint a mask, you see. But what we're going to do is, if you draw outside, you actually turn into a masking selection. But if you want to do something a bit more accurate, you press Control, and then here you see the brush, the masking system changes. You select the mask lasso. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to mask out this section like this, okay? And then I'm going to press Control click to invert the mask, and I'm going to press Control click here several times to blur the mask, okay? And you can find that here into the masking. You can just hit the button blur mask, and you click, and it will blur. And the shortcut is press Control and then click on the mask section, and it will blur it. So once you have that, I'm going to go here into scale, I think. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I move this down like this, I will essentially be moving this out a little bit. You see, it's a little bit of a stretching because I mask things out, but I can probably put it around there, okay? And then here, obviously I broke that out, but I can just probably, I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here. I'm going to clear the mask, okay? And I'm going to move him, but I'm going to use the masking by polygroup that I told you earlier. So I'm going to increase this, and I'm going to click here, and then you see as soon as I click on that one, you assume that the rest will be ignored, and I can just put everything back the way it was here. So I think this sculpt now is too low, so I'm just going to move it up like this. We can fix all that later on as well, so just do that quickly like this and just check it out without. This should make it look good. Don't worry, if that doesn't work there, we can just fix it later on. It's not a problem. I just wanted to get the proportions right. I realized that the legs were too short as soon as I had it like that sideways. I realized that. Anyway, so I'm just gonna move this as well so it matches the other one a little bit. So as soon as you do that, you can see how the floor realign. Like that, so it's flat. Okay, if you want to make it 100% flat accurately, again you press Control Shift, go into the clipping brush, Control Shift, and you just draw there. That will be 100% flat, you see. And then when you move, you see how the floor adjusts if you want to do that. Not completely necessary at this stage. So I'm going to move this in there. It's going to decrease the brush size with the square bracket in the keyboard. I'm gonna probably move the knees a little bit, move these guys a little bit in. Okay, just something quickly in there. Okay, let's do that in there. Okay, something like that. Okay, again, we can fix more stuff later on. So, okay. So what we're looking at when you do the character from the pose, I think this is a little bit very bulky, but we can fix that later on. That's not a problem. Maybe fix it now. Let's see if I can fix it like this. Okay, just like that a little bit. That's fine. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do the splitting. Okay. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say, what am I gonna split? The hands. Okay. The hands need to be in a single poly group in order for me to split in here, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into this section called split. Okay. It's called merge. You can create booleans. Boolean we're gonna talk about when we do a little bit of assets, like for creating assets for mechanical stuff. So splitting, what you do is you can group split them based on the poly group. If you press Control and Hold, it will tell you what that is. Group split button will split selected subtool into the separate subtools, pass on the polygroups. Okay, so we need to have everything in a single sort of color, and then say, okay, that's a single polygroup. Then we're gonna go into just turn it into a subtool here, because we're gonna split them, and then we're gonna work in them individually. So we're gonna do that later in a minute. So what we're gonna do, we're going to find a way how to split them. Okay, this is gonna take a little bit of time, but perhaps what we can do is symmetry on. I'm gonna reduce the brush size. I'm gonna press Control Shift, because at the moment I'm in clipping mode. I need to go back to selection mode just to make it more accurate. I think it might work, but I just want to make it accurate. So you press Control Shift. I'm gonna click on the fingers. The fingers share the same color, so that's fine. So I'm gonna press Control Shift and click and drag. So I invert the masking, and I'm just gonna click here, and I'm gonna start hiding the things that are gonna be part of the hand. So all this stuff here that is hidden is gonna be part of the hand, but not shouldn't be there. Well, we're gonna find out in a minute why is that happening. Okay, so by some reason, some of the stuff here had the same color as this, so that's why they get hidden as soon as I clicked in. And that's one of that showcase was the power of the polygroup. That if you have something shared with the same color, as long as you click in any part of it, the rest that share the same color will be hidden as well. But that's not a problem. We can fix that. So I'm gonna press Control Shift, click here. Sorry, Control Shift, click and drag to invert the mask. Okay, so we know that we're gonna put the hands in a polygroup, but not this. What you can do is you can hide this. What you have to do, you press Control Shift. You can just, you want to hide this or you just want to show this, up to you. You can either select all this to hide it, to show it, or select all this to hide it. If you want to press all this to hide, you press Control Shift, you drag the box, and then you press Alt. It does the opposite. Look how the box goes red. And now, oops, so let it go. Let me do that again. Control Shift, drag, Alt, click, and that's hidden. Okay, you cannot let go of the Alt, otherwise you go back to the original thing you press, which is just Control Shift to show. So now these guys here are what we think is going to be in a single polygroup, and then we say, okay, with everything visible, let's say go here into polygroup and say, oh, I want to make sure that this is a single group, and we're going to create a color that shares all this. And you hit this button. If you hit auto group, it will analyze every single one of these meshes. They are separate, and then it will automatically add a individual color per piece. You see, like this auto group. You see, everything looks like a rainbow, colors everywhere. We don't want that. We want all of them to share the same color. And we say polygroups, everything that is visible. And you see now they have a single color. You can keep going, and it could keep giving you a random color. Okay, doesn't matter. So now what you do have that, you press Control Shift and you click here, and now you invert the mask. Okay, sorry, what it was showing now is hidden, and vice versa. Okay. So again, so we got this guy and say, okay, we're gonna keep the hair in a single polygroup, and I think they'll share the same color because we make copies of them, and then they share the same color. And again, Control Shift, click on that, it hits this. Okay, it's gonna press Control Shift, click and drag, it hides all this. Okay, now we don't want this to be messed up, we want only this to be the same color. Okay, just to make sure, they might be the same color, but just to make sure. Again, you press Control Shift, draw a box on this, then you let go of the Control Shift, and then you click and hold the Alt. Now you see how the box goes red. It means that you're gonna hide, and don't let go of the Alt. Just let go of the pen on the tablet, and now this one is showing. So now this one is gonna be a single color, just to make sure. Again, if I press Auto Group, it will analyze every single one of the geometry, and it know that they are not connected together. Oh, there is a problem there. That shouldn't be part of it, you see. So what we can do is, what I'm gonna do is, this is the eyebrows, you see that for some reason it came with the same color, so let's fix that. Press Control Shift, click there to hide them. Control Shift, click, hide them. Now this one is the one that we're gonna analyze. And we tell them, you see again, if you do this, it will analyze that every single one of these meshes are self-contained or watertight, then it will give you a color for every single one of them. We don't want that. We want that to have a sharing color. And then we just click on the one that says here, group visible. And you can see now they have 7. You can click as much as it will keep giving you a random color every time you click. So you have that, okay, like that, let's say, and then you press Control Shift click, and it shows everything. So now we have the hair with a color, and with the hand with a color. Okay, now if we press Control Shift and click on the hand, you see, now we can select the hands all in one go. Control Shift click and drag, it hides everything. Control Shift click here, hides everything else. Now the eyes are, sorry, the whole body is here. We don't want to keep the eyes, okay, so I'm going to reduce the brush size here, and I'm going to press Control Shift, click on the eye, click on the eye, and now this is what I want to be as a whole, okay, for now, okay, oh, sorry, not for now, sorry, not my bad, not the whole for now. We want to keep only the body, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the, how do we do that, because the neck here, I'm going to keep the head with the neck for now, and then I'm going to keep this like that. Okay, so okay, I didn't anticipate this. Let's see, how can we do that? I'm gonna keep, that's okay, I can keep the neck, and then I can add an extra neck to the head. That's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the head, the ears, the eyebrows, the eyelid, the nose, and the jaw in a single one, and then I'm gonna keep the rest with the other group, which is the body. Okay, and you will see in a minute why I'm trying to do all this. So again, I know that I have the hands hidden and the hair hidden. Now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna just hide it. Okay, you're gonna just hide it. So I'm gonna press Control Shift, and I'm gonna start hiding these bits. These bits I don't want to be part of the head. Oops, not like that. Okay, so now this is gonna be the body. So now this is the one I'm gonna put in a single subtool. And by putting a single subtool, I mean to make sure that they are in a single color sharing, all of them, and that will be with the auto groups. Sorry, with the polygroups. If I hit auto group again, every single one of the geometry will have a separate color. We don't want that. We have a common color among all of them. So we click something like that. Okay. Now, if I click and here, Control Shift click, you see everything else. Oh, yeah, okay. Now we need to fix this. Again, let's do that. I think this one for some reason changed the same color. So I'm gonna do is I'm going to press Control Shift, click on this. Control Shift, click and drag. Now this one's here. I think this one here is sharing the same color as this for some reason, or the nose, I can't remember. Okay, so we need to make sure these guys share the same color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take, I'm gonna press Control Shift and show this, okay, and I'm gonna give this one another color. Group visible, this color. Now I'm gonna press Control Shift and click. You see now this guy goes a single color. So now I'm gonna hide the hands. I press Control Shift. Sorry, Control Shift, click the hands, invert them. I press the hair, it goes now because now this one has the same color. Now I'm going to hide the rest of the body because I need to add these guys back to the body. So I'll press Control Shift, click on the face, and then hide every single one of these elements, okay? Temporarily. And now, these guys, I'm gonna combine them with this, and all I have to do is group visible. You see now they start showing the same color. Whatever color I decide to do, this one for example. Press Control Shift click, you see? This go a color, this go a color, this go a color, but this one is a rainbow now. So we need to make sure that the head is in the same color. Okay, so how do we do that? You press Control Shift, click on the hair if you want anything. You press Control Shift, click and drag, and you hide, hide, hide. Okay. Now we don't want to add the eyes to this, the eyeballs, just the eyelids. So press Control Shift, click on the eyeballs, hide the eyeballs, and now this guy is going to have a single color. Control visible. Now this color. Okay. Control Shift, click there. You see now they have a color. The only thing that has a color at the moment that is rainbow is the eyes. So how do we fix that? We press Control Shift, click on the eye, and hide them. Okay, Control Shift, click, Control Shift, click, Control Shift, click and drag. Now this guy have a different color, so we need to combine them in a single color. Let's give it this color, for example. Now you can see that I have hair with a color, body with a color, I have, well, actually, I'm gonna save this. I completely forgot to save this. Otherwise, I will be like crying in a minute if I don't save this. So I'm gonna save this guy as number 3. Give him the keyboard, 3. And we save that. Now we are back. We are ready. Okay, so hands in a color, body in a color, face in a color, eyeballs in a color, and head in another color. So now we're going to split them. And we're going to split them here in the subtool. So the subtool is a way of just having, you know, in Maya when you have the eyeliner on this side, and then you have all the pieces of geometry you keep building. Excuse me, that's the same. It will be here, but then here it's just called subtool, and then you can split them. Because now we have organized everything with the individual colors. Now we have the ability to split them by that color, and that is using the polygroups. And we tell it here split, and we click the button that says group split. So we click here. It says this is an undo operation. Once you do that, you cannot undo it. So that's why I saved it before I did that. So we say okay. And now look at this, what happened. The hands are in a subtool, the eyes are in a subtool, the hair in a subtool, the body in a subtool, and the face in a subtool. Okay. Now the hair hasn't got a neck. We can work on this one and add a neck if we want to. So if you want to show all of them, you can click here in these little icons, and then you can just show them. I think there is a shortcut. If you press shift and click, it will hide everything but the one you're clicking, or you can shift click here and it hides everything and shows everything. And you can see, because we have the poly frame, everything else, you can see that the active tool is the one that is a little bit lighter than the other ones. You can see? You see? That's the one you know that you're active working on that. So, okay, so you can arrange them. You can tell them, hey, move this guy up. I can say, hey, take this because I want to have it on the top. And then here you just move it up. Okay, you just move it up so you have it on the top. And this one is just for actually moving towards the actual the list of them. Okay, probably the head will be top, so I would probably move it right after the body. Then the hands, maybe not the eye, probably put the eyeballs up. The eyeballs are my head changed. So the hair on the top there, that's fine. Let's work like this. Okay. So let's fix the thing with the neck at the moment. So I'm gonna go here, polygroup. You can see I got the polygroup here is this. Okay. So I'm gonna probably go into the body. Okay, and then increase this, and then I'm just gonna go into move. And I'm just gonna move the neck down a little bit. So I'm just gonna move this a little bit like this, down like this. Okay. So I know roughly where things are. I'm just gonna smooth them out there. Okay. Okay, I don't have to do this, but I just want to make sure that I have roughly something that matches this. So I can probably go to the head. Okay. And if you don't want to see the rest and you want to see through, you hit this button, transparency. And you can see, look, it just gave you like a transparency of everything else, but you can only see what you're having here. If you move to another one, it does the opposite. Okay. And we can probably clip this if we want to. Let's clip it. So we got a line so you know where things are. Let's clip it here. It's a quick exercise. Control Shift. I'm going to go into the clipping mode. And I'm going to click here. Draw it. Okay. I'm going to press Alt. Tap once. Oops. No, my bad. Where's Alt? I've just got so many buttons now. I think Alt is the third one. Okay. Let's do that again. Control Shift. Do that. Draw it till here. Okay. I'm going to press Alt. And it automatically give me this curvature one that I've shown to you in the class. You click there and I mess it up. Let's do that again. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think I oh no, don't place that. I didn't mess this up. What happened? For some reason I cannot undo. Let's see. Okay, for some reason I could, but I just didn't want to do it. Anyway, so Control Shift. Clicking here. Okay. Press Alt once, let go, and then just do that. Okay, you see roughly there. You see, that's the problem with the clipping. It will only squash geometry down. But don't worry, we're just gonna refix all this. So we're just gonna press Shift and then smooth this out a little bit. Don't worry for that for now. Just want to smooth things out a little bit. Don't worry. You can see the geometry is messed up because it's all separate. We're gonna fix that issue in a minute. So later on. So I'm gonna go back to the head, and I'm just gonna add a neck here. So I'm gonna go back to the insert brush here, and I think the neck, I'm gonna go for this one here. And I'm just gonna move all the way down. You can see as soon as, if you do this, it creates two, but you wanna create one, you just make sure that those lines sort of snap in the middle and they convert into one, and then you will only draw one. And you can do that. And then here we move, stuff in there, we rotate it, we can probably scale it like that, something like that, and then we're gonna go back into draw, and then we press Ctrl Shift, and then we clip the dude here like that. You can see. And now we're gonna make this guy have the same color, the same principle. Because we have this subtool, it will not affect any of that. So I'm gonna press Control, click, and drag to clear the mask, and then tell them, hey, these guys now are gonna be part of the same polygroup. You set group visible. There you go. Now they have the same color. Okay. Now once you have that, then you have literally the test bed for you to start working, guys. And I think probably I'm gonna, go back to draw and do a move brush. Okay. Then we do that. We can do. You see, it's quite important that you have your thing blocked out from the beginning, so you don't have to go back and fix these things. You have everything, invest a little bit of time on that, guys. If I want to work on the head and the body, I click select the body, and then I just move this stuff in like that. So I just making go inside like this. Okay. Okay. We can fix that later on, it's not a problem. But we're gonna do the head in a separate subtool. The eyes, we can fix it. These eyes might change. We can put different eyes later on. I'll show you that later on how to do that. But for now, I want you to know that at the moment, what you have here is just geometry. Okay. Now, this is the next step. The next thing you have to do, you want to select what I'm doing once, so you can know what we're doing. So I'm gonna select this guy here, and you can see here, right? Now at the moment, everything is separate. You know, even though I can go and record my polygroups, I can go here. Polygroups, and I say auto group, you can see everything goes back to the way it was, but we don't want that. We want all of them to share the same color. It's just group visible. That's it. It will not affect any other tool because subtool, because you are only working on that subtool selected. And you know when you are, because you, in this case, because that's the one is showing the wireframe, the rest is transparent. If you don't have transparent on, you will see that the other ones are darker. You can see they're a little bit darker, so you know that you know those are tool. And the other cue as well is you got this bar, gray, darker gray bar here. And then that will tell you that you are in the actual subtool. So, okay. So at the moment, this geometry here, we might not be able to take it any further because obviously everything is overlapping. You got geometry within geometry in the middle, and it's not working. Okay. So we don't want that. So if you want to check what it looks inside, you can probably cut it individually. So just to give you an example here, press Control Shift, press All Selection, and you just do this. Okay. You can see. At the moment, you can see that if you go into here, because you cannot see the inside, what I did was, let me go that again. So what I did was I pressed Control Shift, and then I just drew to say, hey, show me only this bit, and let go, and you can see that there's stuff inside, but I want to show you what it looks inside. At the moment, it doesn't show the back faces because they're culling, just an optimization thing. If you want to see what the mesh looks inside, just to go into Display Properties and say double, and you can see. You can see that this geometry has geometry overlapping, they're all inside, lumps inside. We don't want that. We want something that is all watertight, a single shell geometry so you can work. And the way we do that is, because we are in the early stages of development and design, when we do that, what we have to do is we have to turn it into a piece of geometry. And there are several ways of doing that. Okay. The first thing you need to do is use a tool called Dynamesh. Okay. And Dynamesh, what it does is just, and I'll show you an example in a minute, a Dynamesh, what it does is just turn everything into geometry, into a single piece of geometry, and that single piece of geometry has nothing inside, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna press Control Shift, click and drag, and then it will clear, and then we'll go back to this. Remember, when you press Control Shift, you only hide the geometry temporarily. The geometry is still there. So how do we turn this into a single shell geometry? Okay. This is how we do it. What we do is, and by the way, we can fix as well, when we do the wrist here, and we think that the hands are now, we can append another piece of geometry here and then we connect and later on. It's up to us how we're going to do that. So, how we turn this into a single watertight shell that you can start working on. At the moment, there is, let me see how many polygons we have. We have only 22,000 polygons on that particular body part. Okay. The active point is the one that you have the active subtool. The total point is the total combine of all of them. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this again. Okay. I'm place there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually turn it into a watertight. Okay, you can see, look, that's there. Okay, just remember that at the moment, what we have here is low res really, because I remember when I told you at the beginning that when you put the sphere, you create this subdivision which is dynamic subdivision. At the moment it's on. If I do this, look, everything looks very low res. Okay, and this is a true geometry. The one that you see here is only a preview representation. And if you want to turn this into actual geometry as it is, you say apply. Okay, when you do that, you see now this disappear. Now it's actually geometry the way it was. You see? Now you have more geometry. But still, it's not watertight, guys. So we need to fix that. And how do we fix that? By converting all this into a single mesh. Okay? And I think it's going to be a little, probably we should have improved a little bit this neck thing. I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit because there's a big hole in there. But I can show you that how that's going to be fixed later on. So probably I can bulge it up a little bit, perhaps. Like just dragging it in like this. I don't know. Forget for that for now. I can fix that later on. So no problem. Again, invest some time in this, guy, because I think this is way too big. I think actually. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, and we can fix that stuff later on. You know, this is. It takes some planning, guys. It takes some planning. But for now, like I said, I just got so many other things to do. I cannot do a whole character because of all the stuff going on. Okay, so how do we turn this into a watertight piece of geometry? Okay, at the moment, like I said, they are all individual pieces of geometry. See, they're all there. Look, okay. So what we did here is we turn it into a single color. Doesn't matter what color you choose. At the moment, it gave me this, which is the set level of subdivision because we applied the dynamic subdivision. And then you can see here it goes to the lowest and all the way to the highest. We don't want this for now. We just said delete lowest because we just go on a single level. Okay. So how do we turn this into a single watertight geometry? We do this in the geometry section here. There is one section called Dynamesh. Okay. Dynamesh is off by default. And Dynamesh normally what it does is just take all this and convert everything that combine all the meshes in a single mesh with nothing inside. And this is always very depending on this number, which is the resolution. So let's try with 120 and see what happens. So I'm just gonna go and save this because it might crash. Okay, I'm just gonna go here and say this number 4. Okay, just gonna hit save. Okay. Now you hit this button. If you have levels like before, it will give you an error. Delete the levels. Doesn't matter the level. We don't need the levels at the moment. Later on, we're going to talk about levels, but for now, we don't need levels because the levels are. This tool will not work with levels because this is a tool that you normally use at the beginning of your concepting. In the beginning of the concept, you don't have levels. You don't have detail. You just want blocks, just to get a shape. So I'm going to hit this button with the resolution on this to see what happened. Look what happened. You see, it put everything in a single shell. Okay. But I lost a great deal of geometry. Look, I only have 4,000 polygons now. Let me undo this. Okay. Now let's increase this a little bit. 288. Now you can see, the higher this number goes, the better I'm gonna start looking at the geometry. And if I press now Control Shift and show the geometry, look what happened inside. You see, there's nothing inside. You see, it's watertight. Look. Even though this hole is inside here that looks like they go in, they do have a back end here. So, but it's still, the resolution is too low. So you need to increase this. Let's put it to, I don't know, 700 or 800. See what happens. Okay, so now we're getting there somewhere. You can see that this one here is getting there. Okay, don't worry about this roughness. We can smooth it out. Let's see how many polygons it gave me. Click here. 159,000. I think this pretty much sort of represent pretty well the shape. You can just hide it and see. That's okay. Let's say that that's what you want. 100 and something thousand. I mean, you should start with something like that. Okay, if you're not happy, then we can undo that and then increase this to, I don't know, 1,000. Let's Dynamesh that. Obviously, the higher the number, the longer it's gonna take, and the more you're gonna think it's 340,000. I think it's this. Okay, so let's say that you settle for that. Okay, but now, if I just want to see this, and then hide the rest in the viewport here, you just hit this button, solo. Transparent does this, but solo, it just hides everything else and only keep that. And now, look what happened. So let me undo this. You can see. Let me show you something before I continue. I undid what I just did. I know that about 1,000 works. And solo is only for you, me to show this. So look what happened if I wanted to continue working on this. This is the reason why we're gonna make it work watertight, because if we press shift to smooth, you know, things, you see, there are separation here, you see? They are separated, they're not together. So what we're gonna do is make sure that when we hit smooth later on, all this stuff will be part of a single shell, and that's what we do the Dynamesh. So Dynamesh, what it does, it converts everything to a single watertight shell. That's all you need to learn for now. I advise you to look at tutorials on this online, and I will help you individually if you're struggling with this. So I'm gonna put this to about 1,000 something. And I hit Dynamesh. You can see now that all this is a single mesh, and you can do things like polish. You can polish a little bit, and I think if you undo this and you hit the button polish, you press Control here and have a look. It says polish. What it does, I think, is, and maybe it doesn't show it. But polish, what it does is smooth things out as you Dynamesh. You see, click there. You see, it looks smoother. You can see that it looks a bit smoother. So it does an extra pass of smoothing. I don't know why it does that too much. But anyway, so I'm just gonna put it back to the way it was, 1,000 something. And then I'm gonna hit polish, and then I'm gonna hit Dynamesh. Now you need to keep an eye on this, because as soon as you click this, the button is on. And this is something I'm gonna show you now, because the first thing you say, okay, I'm gonna give you a quick smooth to this. I press shift, I put the intensity not too high, probably about something, and then I just give it a go. Look, I got rid of that squariness that you have there. Look, nice. Look, so I'm gonna, you see I smooth this out. Look at this, and it has just an initial pass of what the geometry looks like. There are the landmarks, you see, this looks, okay, you see this, okay, there is a bone in there, for example. You need to work on that stuff. Oh, it's actually much better when you do this. And then here, you can smooth things out a little bit, okay? You can see this, you smooth it out and you start filling up those holes in there. Okay. Do that. If you want to fill this hole, we're going to go into a brush later on. You just pretty much get a clay build up. And then you just click in here. And then you just move it. Pretty much you just reduce the brush size. And then what you do is you just fill in the hole. And then you smooth it out. Now look what happened here. I got this on. Look, this is on. And I go this geometry. Look what happened. This stuff is on, right? When that button is on, it means that the Dynamesh function is on, which means that every time you press Control, click, and drag, if there are no masks, it will automatically trigger the system. Look, you see what happened? It creates a new mesh for me, and now the hole is much better. Press Control, Shift again, click. Control, click, and drag, and it does it. So every time you do a change, it will automatically compensate for that. It will add it into the new mesh. Okay. Again, press. Oops, not that. Press Shift. Yeah. Okay. A little bit just a quick shape here, just to touch up this, so it doesn't look too like with no skin. Let's do that there, here. These joints are there, joints in there, these ones as well. You can see now you have something that is looking more. So I'm just gonna move this guy up like this. You can see every time I do some changes, and because this button is off, if I press Control, click, and drag, it will trigger. You see how it created nice geometry? And all what it does is says, okay, this stuff is being stretched out. I'm going to create more geometry in there to make it look more even all around. So you press Control, click, and drag, it triggers the system. Look, it's an automatic thing. So if the button is off, you press Control, click and drag, and it's nothing. You automatically think that you are in the mask mode. If you got this on, okay, it doesn't work because it must be clear. Okay, so let me clear this and I press Dynamesh. So if I press Control, click and drag here, it knows, okay, I got a mask. If I press Control, click and drag and do it, it says, oh, once for clearing the mask, and then when I do it again, it creates a mesh. But let's do some changes so you can see it. I'm gonna move stuff around here like this, for example. Let's say, yeah, that's what I want to do. Again, if I have a mask, it says, okay, it works. Control, click and drag, clear the mask. Control, click and drag triggers the Dynamesh because the button is on. So keep an eye on this button always, okay? Because you might mess up your geometry at the end. So again, so you can just smooth things out a little bit here. Make it a little bit more organic there. I think this is not very organic. Maybe I need to move it in a little bit. Okay. Okay, like that, maybe. Okay, this is gonna be covered anyway. So I'm gonna smooth this out. Shift to smooth. You can see, just it looks like it's more integrated, but if you can see that there's a little bit of a hint of a knee there, and that's because we put those geometries in there. You might say, oh, it's a waste of time. No, it's not, because if you keep those things in there, when you smooth it, you can see the underlying geometry. Look at this. Look what happened when I smooth this. See, it's all there, but okay, it got a hint here that there's a bone. Okay, the same here. Look, I smooth it out, but it's there. You know, and that's all what this is about. It's about creating those little underlying structure that you cannot see. You know, and the good thing is, look, my sculpt is clean. Look, it looks clean-ish, I suppose, but you can see here that it's quite clean, and then probably the chest could have been working a bit better. But you can see as soon as I start moving around, you see how I start getting wobbly because I move things around. That's the problem. That's what you need to try to avoid when you do your characters, because it start looking very blobby. Okay, so and you got one there that you can work, and you can start. The next step we're going to start sculpting this, and then creating details and using the brushes for it. That's going to be the next step. So let's go back to the hands. Let's do the hands. You see, now I've got the hands. You see again, this hand has all the geometry separate. We need to combine them. Again, go into geometry. Okay, I'm going to commit to the geometry by going to subdivision dynamic and say apply. By applying, it created those subdivisions that I told you about. You see, but if we go just to prove the error that I give you later, as mentioned later on, if you put the set remesh and you hit set remesh, oh, it remeshes on the level. Okay, they fixed that. Before it used to give you an error. So we don't want it set remesh individually. It respect the polygroups, but I don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to delete the lowest. So I have this. You see, it's high res. Okay, it's fairly high res. It's 50,000 or something. But I'm gonna combine them all. So here, I could have improved this, making a little bit with the separation. If you look at your hand, you can just have a little bit of separation between. But I'm not gonna do it now because it's already done. I'm gonna go back in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set remesh this. Oops, sorry, my bad. I was doing it wrong. My bad, guys. I use set remesh. It's not set remesh. It's Dynamesh. Sorry, my bad. And I think that's gonna give you the error. So again, we committed the subdivision by hitting apply. It gave us 3 levels. Look, you can see here, low level, high level. Okay. If we hit Dynamesh, it gives me the error. That's what I mean. The mesh has multiple subdivision levels. Would you like to freeze the subdivision level before entering Dynamesh mode? That's when it starts getting, if you say yes or no, whatever, then you're gonna start having some really weird issues because you're gonna freeze this thing. So I'm gonna hit escape, do that. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to delete the lowest, so I only keep the highest, and then I Dynamesh. Let's keep with 128 and see what happens. Whoa, you can see that's the problem. And that is the reason why we split the hands, because when you have the hands together with the body and you start doing this, in order to get this decent, the fingers all around, you need to crank this volume so high, and you end up with 2, 1, 5 million polygons. It's not necessarily at that stage. So it's better to work on the hands individually, and then at the end you combine them, and then you start putting everything together at the end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna undo that, and then I'm gonna increase this a little bit. I don't know, let's put it to 5 something, and then hit, you see? Now, start getting in there. You see, even with 500, I'm still getting this sort of webbing between the fingers. This could have been improved if I have a little bit more distance between them, but let's ignore that for now, and I'm gonna increase this to about 1,000 that we did earlier. Click there, you can see that even with 1,000, still giving me that web, and that's because it's too close. But we could fix that, but I'm not gonna fix that now. So I'm gonna put 1.3 for now, and that should be good enough. So again, you can see now this geometry is watertight, and if I press Control Shift and drag in here, you can see that. Let me frame this. You can see here. Let me go into display properties, hit double, and you can see inside. You can see the fingers, you can see inside. You see you got nothing inside, it's just watertight, and that's what we're looking at. That's what we're aiming at, okay? I'm gonna press Control Shift click so you can have everything. And then I'm gonna press Shift and then just gonna smooth. See when I start smoothing, the fingers start combining, but because we were quite subtle in those little knuckles when we put things together, the knuckles are there, look. It's very subtle, but they are there, look. Okay, let me put different materials so you might be able to see it. Let's put this metal material. This one metal here that might help. This one. You can see, you see the knuckles there, and that's because we did that overlapping thing that we put a little bit there, and then the finger a little bit lower, and then the other one finger a little bit lower, and then you get the knuckle for free. So the same here, we put a vase, but obviously this is so much work. And this here, you're gonna have to fix that, but you can just moving this in like this, I suppose. You see, we should have done this. So I'm gonna smooth this out, and then now that I did that, I can go back to geometry with this button on. I press Control, click and drag, and then you see, let me do that again with the mesh. We did move this. Look what happened when I do now, because this button is off. I want to press Control, click and drag. You see, it did a new redesign, and then now, there you go. We fixed that issue very easily. Okay, let's move things around a little bit like that. Okay, and again, the hands looked fairly clean. Look, with that method that we just did, we don't have any that horrible wobbling thing that you have when you start moving millions of polygons. That's what happened when you start millions of polygons. You say, I want to do some detail, and then this is what happened. It start looking horrible, and then, guys, let me. This is so wrong. Let me move this out like this. Guys, let me tell you something. When you had a model that is wobbly like that and you want to fix it, man, it's better to start again, because it's so difficult to get rid of that wobbliness. And that's one of the things, guys, they're going to ask you when you go into a job. They're going to be looking at that and they say, well, I want a clean sculpt and I want a wobbly sculpt. This is not made of plasticine. We don't do plasticine here, they will tell you. Believe me, they will. So, we got hands now. Okay, hands are ready. Now, the hair, I'm going to bypass it. I'm going to go into the face 1 second. Okay, excuse me, the face. Now, the face, I'm tempting to fix this first. Okay, I'm tempting to fix this issue first, and we're going to perhaps do that, trying to fix it. You got this head here. I'm going to commit to this because at the moment I haven't committed to it. So I'm going to go here. Dynamic subdivision. This is something that this stuff we did it very early, guys, at the beginning. If you haven't followed my tutorial, you don't know what I'm talking about, so you have to go back. So you hit apply, and now if you see this, I have geometry. It goes all the way from there all the way to there. Okay, and that's just for now. So I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to move these in, but I'm gonna have to perhaps temporarily polygroup them. Auto group, so I can select this group in particular. Now don't worry about the symmetry. I'm gonna show you how to fix that symmetry thing that we have here, but let's fix this eye. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to say polygroup masking with the move. So as soon as I click on the first group, it will be ignore the rest. Oh, I'm tempted to fix this so you can see that I'm going to move. You see, I'm gonna move that there, and then I'll move that there. Okay, that one there. That's fine. That's fine. This eye is too close, man. This is something I need to fix. Okay, like that. Maybe the nose is too big, perhaps. nice in there. I'm gonna move this a little bit like that, and this a little bit. It's only temporary. Okay. Now you can see that the symmetry is gone, but oops. Don't worry. I'm gonna show you how to fix that. Let's see. This is the one that we want, and then we're gonna mirror to the other side. I'll show you how to mirror. Again, Dynamesh. The levels. I need to get rid of the levels. Delete lower, so I have only one level because I already committed by hitting that apply. Now I'm going to go here into Dynamesh. No, I keep making a mistake. Dynamesh. It's Z remesh. No, sorry, it's Dynamesh, not Z remesh. Anyways, if I keep it at 128 and I hit this button, look what happened. All the detail is gone because I don't have enough resolution. I only created 5,000 polygon or 50,000 perhaps. So I'm gonna go this. I think about 1,000 something is the one. Let's put a little bit more detail on the face because the face is more complicated than the rest of the body. So I'm gonna hit this. And you can see here. Look, everything is combined together. And oh, look at this. This is a good example because I have polygroups in every single one of these. It will sort of keep them and then blend them together. But it doesn't matter. We're gonna fix them. We're gonna combine everything in a single polygroup. So let me undo that and then increase the resolution a little bit, maybe 1.7 something like that. Okay. And then if I want to bring everything back to the same polygroups, I can just go polygroups and then set group visible. You see a single color. Now at the moment, I don't have levels. We talk about level later on. Don't worry, we're gonna be talking about. But for now, I want to copy whatever's on this side to this side by mirroring it. Because look at the eye here. The eyes is good here, but not here. So if you want to do that, this is the right time to do it. We are in the right state, which is just blocking out. So we go here into geometry, go into modify topology, and hit this button called mirror and well. The mirror and well, what it says, is takes whatever's on one side, mirror to the other side, and make sure that it's together. And this is the axis that we're going to be using, the x-axis. Okay? And you can see which axis you're working. If you click this button on the floor, it will tell you here which is the axis. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and this is the z-axis. Okay? But this is quite tricky because look at this what happened. Look at this. This is the positive z, this is the negative z, this is the this is the positive x, positive z, and to the back is the negative z, and up is the y positive, and down is the y negative. Look what happened when I hit mirror and well. I actually did the opposite. I put the messed up part to the good part, but we don't want that. We want the opposite. So what we have to do is we have to flip it and then mirror it, because he knows here that this part is the positive. It works positive to negative. You can choose anything you want. If you click, for example, here, and you hit Y, look, it says the floor elevation. Yes, it mirror. I think it mirror everything. No, this one doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. So the x-axis, that's what we want for now. Okay. So, what happened? Okay, this is what we want. Okay. So x-axis. So we want to mirror this good side to this. If we hit it like that, it does the opposite. It sends the bad side, what we don't want, to this side. Okay. So let me undo that. We need to flip it first and then mirror. And this is how you flip it. You go here into, I think I went blank, I forgot. Go here into deformation, I think it is, and mirror. Okay, you said mirror. I think it's mirror X. And you see it does. It pretty much, by mirroring, it just pass whatever is on this side to this side, and whatever was on this side to this side. So now we have the good bit that we want to fix on the positive side of X, and now we can go back. And we want to talk about later about this tab. Don't worry for that for now. We're gonna mirror that. So we go here. You remember this is the good side, and we go here into modify topology, and then we hit mirror well, and you can see now we have the way we want it. Okay, very easy to fix. And we're gonna go and press shift, and then smooth things out. Look how nice this is when you smooth it. Let me increase this a little bit. So you press shift. You see how it integrates really nice. You see. It blends out. This is a bit because it was a bit too low res, but you see, you can just press shift and smooth it out, and it will look nice and clean. Okay, look at this. Now this as well there. You see a nice integration. This bit's there. Don't worry about it. We're gonna fix that later on. Okay, and if you want, what you can do is you can just press shift to smooth this out, and then you go into Dynamesh. And then you give it another go. You press Control, Control click and drag, and you read out everything. You see how you got rid of those things a little bit? And smooth them out. And again, control, click and drag. You see, it created it again, and it's done. It's because this button is on. Okay. If you decrease this resolution, you will mess up your geometry. For now, it's okay. This is 10,000 polygons or whatever. And now we can just you can see we can press Shift here and smooth. You can see how, look at how nice and clean this is. It's a nice clean integration right there. Very early days though, but don't worry, we make it look nice later on. But we just wanna, this is what we're aiming, guys. This is the method that I told you. If you keep things clean like this, everything will fit into place, guys. Everything. But you need to be quite nice and clean with this. If you start blooming things around, you will mess up your sculpt. And like I said to you at the beginning, believe me, it's easier if you start again actually fixing it. There are ways of fixing it, but I don't think it will ever be the same. So yeah, it will never be the same once I'm smooth, it says. So I'm gonna smooth, making this a little bit there. So I advise you to invest time in the blocking stage, which shouldn't take you more than a week, guys, if once you have your character already established. So I'm gonna hit solo, and this is what we have. Transparent, geometry, beautiful. The hair we can fix it later on. You can see that is that. So now you have the ability to work on the body, on the head, on the hands individually, and the hair individually. The hair, I'm going to leave that for now, and then we work on another time. But here, the next stage what we're going to do is we're going to start sculpting this character. The moment is just a single pass, and then we're going to start sculpting. So this is when the fun parts start, guys. So for now, this is it for this week. I'm going to upload this as soon as possible now so you can have it for the weekend. And that's it. This should be pretty much 2 hours that I've done this. So the 1 hour and the other one for 45 minutes, and this one again. So I'm gonna upload this on the canvas so you have this ready. And this is it for this guy for this week. So next week we're gonna start introducing the actual sculpting process, the brushes, and then making sure that everything looks nice, and then start sculpting things, detail. And then once we have that, then we're gonna start preparing that geometry, and then we're gonna start extracting bits like cloth, mechanical things, part. And then I'm gonna prepare next week as well, hopefully a one with the Boolean to do like blocking out asset and things like that. Okay. All right, that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you. Bye bye.